Morning, good morning, good morning. You're in tune to Win FM 98.9. That is on your radio dial, your FM radio dial. It's Friday morning. It's a beautiful Friday. The sun is not out in all its glory. It's a little not gloomy, but it's clouded, but it has that beautiful breeze. It's still a wonderful Friday. It's just what it is. Nature at its best in St. Kitts and Nevis. When you look at what's happening around the world, people are freezing. It's not anything like here. We have wonderful weather 365 days of the year. We have to be grateful, and some of us are still complaining. It's amazing how much we don't appreciate anything around us. We get so caught up in the negative energies that we tend to overlook the little positive. Just to be alive, it's a good thing. It's a big thing just to be alive, because we see what's happening around us. You see people are just falling down like flies. Today you're here, tomorrow you call, you speak. Just a matter of fact, you spoke to somebody 15 minutes ago, and then they say, oh yeah, I'm on my way to the hospital. And next half an hour later you hear that person had passed, and then you have to just look up and say how grateful you are and give praise and thanks, because that's what it is. It's not gloom and doom, because it's a cycle of life. We're going to die. If you eat well, you're going to die. If you eat bad, you're going to die. If you smoke, you're going to die. If you don't smoke, you're going to die. So whatever you cannot stop, that is inevitable. So all we have to do is make sure that the life we live is the best life that we can live. So that is one of the reasons why people always talk about healthy eating, so that even while you're alive, you don't have those aches and pain that I am feeling right now. But it's like I said, I love the aches and pain, because it says to me, you are alive. There's some people wish they can feel pain, but they can't feel pain. But that's what it is. My name is Sandra Quilliatiton. It's about that time, the time your views. Your views is a program that is aired on Win FM every Friday morning at 10 o'clock. It's a program where we have guests. I normally have a guest on that we look at situations that affect us, and we look for information, and so we try to get the source that has the information. Not all information are correct information. And then we are part of a belief system where we don't try to make sure that the information that you get is correct. We just believe it and accept it. And I suppose that's one of the reasons why the world is in the state that it's in today, because we are all believers. We don't know anything. We are just believers and followers, and we don't try to investigate anything. That is one of the reasons why gossip mongering is one of the biggest jobs that they have out. They always have vacancies. So I don't know how some people are unemployed, because that's what they do most. It's gossip. Social media has becoming a cesspool where people go and air all their dirty linens and dump their poop and their basically their sewage on social media. And I suppose that's why the world is so filled with filth, because that's all we do. Negative energy destroys the ozone layer. That's what it's doing. That is one of the reasons why we are so exposed to radiation, and cancer is our number one killer. Heart attacks, high blood pressure, diabetes, those are the ones that are plaguing us, because all we do each day is stay on social media and stress. Unhealthy eating is, people can say about that, it affects you, but it doesn't affect you as bad as stress does. We have with me this morning, I have a guest. Guess who? I am so excited about this discussion this morning. I have been following Barbados politics, and I'm so proud of Mia Motley. I'm seeing women being put in positions that it is so breathtaking. It's a breath of fresh air. It's bliss. We have the president, who is a woman. The prime minister, she's a woman, and the deputy, she's a woman. That is so good. It's something that I've always wanted to see in St. Kitts and Nevis. Women at the helm, women, because we've tried all the men, and we've just been getting corruption, gossip. It's just a never-ending solution. So if we've tried it all, why not try something new? Try something else. And this morning I have a young lady who is in politics, but it's not all about politics, because, you get in there and you're still not as active as you wish you could be. But I'm happy that she's there, and I want you and I would understand her experience as a representative, an elected representative, who basically hands are tied because she's not with the party that is in power. Good morning, Cleone Stapleton Simmons. I hope
Good morning, Sandra. How are you?
I am at the best of my life right now. I'm at peak. I'm seeing people falling down all over the place. So me being alive, I'm queen. And how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
It's a pity, it's not as exciting of having you on the other end instead of having you in front of me. And I was really looking forward to that. But it's life, and things doesn't really happen go the way we want it to. I'm spoiled in that area because I always get my way, and it's so sad I didn't get it with you. Take a woman to stop me, I suppose. I suppose. But anyways, welcome to Your Views on Win FM. You are
Thank you
being
so much for having me. I'm quite happy and indeed honored to be able to join you this morning.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Cleon, I am looking at women in politics. As I said before, I look at Barbados and what Barbados is doing. I am so proud of Mia. Mia is the Prime Minister of Barbados. She has a president because, Barbados has decided now, I don't want to be a follower. I want to be on my own, and they're their own republic. So, and they have a deputy prime minister who's a woman. Is that setting some precedents for us here in Nevis, or is it because I'm looking at what NRP is doing too, with that majority, 90% majority being 95% being women, and you have one lone ranger? Is that to tell people that we are not sexist?
Certainly, we are not sexist.
Okay.
And so, first off, I would just like to say congratulations to Honorable Mia Motley on her second landslide victory in Barbados elections. It was, I suppose, no surprise that she was able to return to as the Prime Minister of Barbados. And so, yes, we see Barbados setting a trend where women are empowered to the extent that they have elevated to the highest office in governance in Barbados. And so we all look forward in the Eastern Caribbean to perhaps follow the same trend.
Okay, Nevis is next in line. So can we look forward to that? Woman premier, first time ever. History's in the making, is it?
Well, certainly, it is indeed our goal and our ambition to be able to make history in that way. I think NRP would have set the tone for that when I was elected on March 5th, 2020. And so I was elected as the first female elected representative for the party. And so to me, we're already setting that trend. And, it's not to say so much that women want to take over, so to speak,
No.
but it's just, I think, that time in our history where women are becoming more vocal, more active in politics and in decision making and in governance. And so I think the time is perhaps right. And so we look forward to that and being engaged. And of course, as women, we represent all aspects of the community, and so we don't want our men to feel left out in any way. But many of us women, we are certainly inspired by Prime Minister Motley and other women who are really paving the path in terms of politics, active politics and governance. And we look forward to being able to make our contribution and being able to serve our communities in whatever capacity.
I see the same. It's not about being sexist and wanting to take over, but it's full time that women start having a say. We are the hands that rock the cradle. We raised these men. We taught them, and at the end of the day, we taught them who or what they're supposed to be. And I suppose we can do the same thing. I think women have always taken a backseat especially in the Lesser Antilles. You're not seeing them coming forward. Barbados is no surprise to me. You saw that in the making. You just a little. It was just. Longer than I thought it would have happened, but it's happened, and like I said, I can see the same thing happening in Nevis. It's not about a woman or a man. It's the best person that is qualified or capable of doing the job, and that's what I feel. I don't look at politics and politicians as a woman supposed to be in the position. Woman has to earn that position. I believe in that, and not because you're a woman mean that you should be just given a clear way to go in because we want to see something different. So women supposed to make sure that you position yourself and that you're capable, you're competent enough to hold those kind of position. You are an elected representative. Congratulations. I was so proud when I heard it. I mean, you made history, but history is all, is not all that you want to make. You're an elected representative who sits in parliament, who has no say basically. You are a lone ranger. You are outnumbered by a lot. And how difficult it is though when you have to sit in parliament and you're only hearing the echo of your voice, your own voice as a woman.
It is indeed, at times it can be very, very challenging, but at the same time, whether it's just my sole voice in Parliament, the impact is really be able to represent people effectively and to send a message that resonates with people of some of the issues that are confronting us as Nigerians and Kittians. And so even though it's challenging, because as you know, where I sit on the opposition benches, really, because it's just me alone, there is no impact in terms of the voting in Parliament.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, the impact really is being able to send the message to the people so that they can understand and be able to appreciate the issues for what they are and make an assessment, in not only in terms of their own personal life, but an assessment as to the development of Nevis moving forward. And so I am quite happy, despite the challenge, that I am able to give that voice for the people, because I think it is important that we always have a voice.
Yep.
Whether it be in opposition or in government, that voice is needed. And I think Nevis, with an election pending, have to be very careful, because we're at a crossroad in our politics, and I want the people to understand that it is always better to have a voice, to have someone to speak on your behalf rather than not having any voice at all. And so we cannot afford to let anyone muzzle or silence us, because, of course, politics and governance, it is all about representation, representing the people. And I am quite inspired by the achievement of Prime Minister Motley, because I see her not just as a woman or a female. I see her as a person with a goal, with a dream, who is destined really to transform and change the lives of the people within her country. And so it is that inspiration that really motivates me to continue the fight despite the challenges, because certainly Nevis needs good representation, fair representation, representation that is going to push Nevis forward and really have a significant impact on the lives of all Nevisians.
Cleon, who are you? It's just the question one would ask. I know that everybody would say, oh, she had a safe seat. It was Paris' seat, and it was that St. Thomas's is basically an NRP stronghold, so you didn't have to fight hard. People would say that you didn't have to fight hard. People vote along party lines, and people voted for Parry when you were the person who was the candidate that was on the ballot. But people think that you were lucky that you got a safe seat. Who is Cleon, and what is basically your intentions for Nevis?
Thank you so much for that question, Sandra, because indeed I have heard those same sentiments being expressed by persons, and I am indeed very grateful and honored that I was recommended by Mr. Joseph Parry, who would have been the representative for St. Thomas's Nevis 5 for a number of years, but perhaps more than my actual existence. And so to have that endorsement, I think it meant a lot to me and also to the people of St. Thomas's. So, Cleon, I am homegrown from Cotton Ground, from St. Thomas's, born and raised. I attended St. Thomas's school. So I am integrated within the community, have always been. That is where I am from. I still live in Cotton Ground today with my family. And so I don't think it was much of a surprise that I really became involved in active politics the way that I did. I think that has always been a passion or a dream of mine to be able to make that that contribution. So I'm very happy that the opportunity presented itself and I was able to be successful at it. Now, I am just like any person. I'm very down to earth. I have a family. I have 2 sons, and so I am very much involved in family life. I am also a practicing attorney by profession. Before becoming an attorney, I would have engaged in several other professions, including teaching, banking, and so I have really done a lot within both my personal and professional realm. And so I'm quite happy to be able to serve, because at the end of the day, it is about service and representation. Now, since being elected as the area representative for Nevis 5, I have engaged in a number of activities and initiatives with the sole aim of being able to advance or better the lives of the people within the community. So I think within 2 months or 3 months of being elected, I was able to launch the Lowlands Community Foundation.
Wow.
And that's basically a foundation that provides assistance to persons within the community. And so we have several initiatives. We have the business initiative where we assist persons who want to develop a small business. We help them make their dream become a reality. And so we were able to successfully do that with a young constituent from Banscott with the launching and the establishment of the Cotton Lime Barbershop there in Banscott. And so that is something that I am very proud of because Mr. Parry would have always instilled in us as young persons that it is always better to teach people how to fish rather than just give them fish. And so it is really within that context that I really wanted to be able to assist persons in really developing themselves and be able to provide for themselves and their family. We also have as a part of the Lowlands Community Foundation, the educational outreach aspect of it. And so we were able to launch the Morella Webb Scholarship Fund, which provides scholarship to 3 students. These are annual scholarships, and we provide financial assistance as well as school supplies to those students so that we can ease the burden of their parents having to be able to provide for them from an educational perspective.
Okay, like I said, you are the Lone Ranger. You are the elected representative for the constituency number 5. Like, you're not in office, so therefore, I know. Do you get a constituency allowance?
Certainly.
Okay.
I think all elected representatives are awarded a constituency allowance, which is used for the benefit of the constituency.
Good. Okay, well, that's where I'm coming from. So you only depend on a constituency allowance in order to help your constituents. Tell me, I mean, it is going to be a strange question for you because Honorable Parry, he was the one who held that position for a very long time, forever. I can't remember another representative for St. Thomas's. He have held that position forever. Tell me of some of the areas of neglect that you would have seen in St. Thomas's that you think that you can make a difference.
Oh my, Sandra, that list is exhaustive. But certainly I can highlight a few areas. I think one of the major challenges in St. Thomas's is being able to provide land for persons and affordable lands, that is. And so presently we have a situation in St. Thomas's where land is very scarce and the prices for land are extremely high. And so communities, for example, I can use Banscott as an example, where it's just a very small village, and it's basically, from what I can see, it's somewhat landlocked in the sense that there are developments taking place in Barnsgott, land developments where private entities and citizens who perhaps have the means are able to buy land at a higher value. And so the residents of Barnsgott have a challenge in the sense that because of the area, the land prices are very high and they cannot afford them. And so one of the things that NRP had intended to do prior to exiting office was really to purchase lands from private landowners and then subsidize them and make them available to the people within that area. And so that plan continues because there's an obvious challenge with the residents here having to compete with commercial entities such as banks and other citizens who have the means. And so one of the aim is to be able to access land and then make it available to persons at an affordable price. And I think that would help to ease the burden and have the double of effect of allowing persons to be able to live within their communities. Now, that is not to say that the lands here would only be available to the people of Barnsgott. Of course, it will be extended to the entire parish of St. Thomas's and other persons, but I think that is one of the major issues throughout the entire parish of St. Thomas's, having access to land, and so the government really has to step in and step up, and so that is something that once NRP is in government, that would certainly be a priority.
The housing project that the government is have embarked on, because there are a few houses that has already been built. You have some over in, I think it's the Mount Lily area. You have Cherry Garden. Those are government projects. I thought I definitely would have seen something like that in St. Thomas's, because there are a lot of young people in St. Thomas's and in the St. Thomas's area, and I think that's one of the biggest cry, where they have to come out of St. Thomas's. If in the event that you need a house, you can't seem to get one in the area that you're born and reared. That has become like I say, it's a challenge. There are a lot of, I think there's enough wasteland because you can cut further up if you go further up in the mountain area. But again, I heard those lands were sold to private people who have money, like you said. How do you think? What is there an alternative solution to the problem where you're concerned? I don't know if you can find an alternative solution, because like I said, there are young people who want to stay in the area, who doesn't want to go out of the area. They don't have the opportunity to purchase land, taking into consideration, what the salary scale for the ordinary man or woman in Nevis. It's sort of difficult. And I'm saying this to you because it's a cry that I've been hearing, and young people, that's their complaints. They can't seem to own anything of their own because basically the means are not there, the salary is small, and the lands are not available, not available, but affordable for them to buy.
Yes, I think the plan really is that because you have that situation, and this is nothing new, NRP, under the guidance and leadership of Mr. Parry, would have done this in the past, also under the guidance and leadership of the late Simeon Daniel, where government would step in and approach private landowners and purchase the land from them and then subsidize them and sell them back to the people. There are a number of communities, estates in the St. Thomas's area where that took place, and it afforded the people the opportunity to build lovely homes. And so, we continue along the same path. Okay. What I have seen in recent time with this present administration is that has not been a priority for them. I know during the period of 2006 and 2013, when NRP was in government, they actually started that housing project there in Upper Cotton Ground. And so, yes, the present administration continued it, but we still need to be able to provide lands, access to lands for our people.
Yeah.
And so I know recently a private investor in Barnscott was able to purchase about 5 or 4 acres of land for $8 per square foot.
Wow.
To me, that is something that the government could have
Offered.
purchase if it's only $8 and make those lands available for the persons. Of course, I am very mindful that you can't tell private citizens who to sell their land to.
Sure.
But again, it all has to do with negotiation, and it has to do with your plan for the people of that particular constituency or area. So it is something that I am passionate about, and I would certainly, once NRP is in government, use every resources available, every medium to be able to provide land, accessible and affordable land for the persons within that particular constituency. And I suppose, no doubt in my mind, that the approach would not just be for the people of Nevis 5. The same approach would be adopted for the entire island of Nevis.
Yeah, you're on the ground and you are supposed to be doing house-to-house campaigning. You're supposed to be asking or soliciting people's vote. I suppose people are looking for people who they can trust, who they have the confidence in order to put in office, because we're not seeing, it's not the same or anything like now. Politics is different. You have social media, information is out there, people can get. People are now scrutinizing the candidates because we hear and see of the many corruptions that happens in politics. You, as a woman, we are taught differently, we behave differently. I can tell you that for a fact. We have pride. It's something that not ego. That is the difference between a woman and a man. We women have pride and men have ego. And that is one of the big problems that we have. What areas, I know you say it's a lot, but some of the areas that you see right now in Nevis that is very deficient and you can make a difference?
Certainly, I think women on a whole are compassionate. Not to say that men are not, but of course we do have that
It's natural for us.
motherly instinct,
It's natural for
instincts, and that being a protector and just wanting to be able to ensure that we're able to look after everybody, including our men, our children, and so women naturally have that. And it would not be surprising that a predominantly women-led party would be able to bring that same energy, that same compassion towards governance. And I think it is something that is somewhat lacking, especially in this time. Not to say that men cannot offer it. I just think that women have that softer side, that softer touch, and women are no doubt more organized and more in tune with, people and what people really want. And so having said that, of course, we must always pay homage to the men who have paved the way for us, particularly the Nevis Reformation Party, and I speak about people like the late Dr. Simeon Daniel, Ivor Stevens, and of course, Mr. Parry, someone who my generation perhaps can more resonate with. And so we are grateful to them for their guidance and what they have done, the contribution that they have made in terms of transforming Nevis to where it is today. But we really want to be able to build on that and be able to provide opportunities for people to have better housing, to have more access to education. We want to really significantly impact the welfare of people. And I think that is really the mandate of the Nevis Reformation Party. We are mindful that these are very challenging economic times due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But despite that, I believe that, we are resilient people, and where there is a will, there is a way. And so we really need to get back on that drive to build a stronger economy for Nevisians, because I think that is the only way that we can get our people out of this dark, dull, and gloom economic state that we are presently facing in Nevis. And so it takes planning, it takes having compassion. It takes being able to make deliberate and conscious decisions. And it also takes listening to the needs and the cries of the people. And that is something that I think the NRP has always done tremendously well, being able to empower and transform the lives of people. And there's no doubt in my mind that we, the new candidates, that we will continue along that same line of really ensuring that our plans and our policies are put in place to transform people and to help people.
You know, all of this needs money. In order for you
It
to,
does.
we talk about an economy, a vibrant economy, it needs ideas. You have to have good ideas and you have to have good investment skills, direct or you have investments or otherwise. You have to find some means and ways of supporting Nevis and helping to boost the economy. Now, we at CCM has the privilege of the Nevis, the Charleston Accord, where St. Kitts has an obligation based on commitment and contractual agreement of giving a fixed sum to Nevis. NRP would not share that same privilege because, like I said, that came out of the unity construct. NRP would not share that same privilege. If I do hope that when that happens, though, the government will still consider the fact that Nevis is Nevis and it's not along party lines. But we see the dependence on that money's coming out of St. Kitts. We are not seeing. Well, I'm not seeing. Any other I don't know what other source of income, because because of COVID, people have been laid off, small businesses have closed down, so that contribution, the hotels were down. The government, you can see they were very much strapped for cash. There are projects that would have been completed, monies had to come from somewhere to do that. So you are on the outside, you are campaigning to get in. I hope you have a good idea of what is happening in the treasury and whether or not there's money for you to spend. Tell me some of the ideas that you have so that you can basically stimulate the economy, because it's sad, it's frightening when I look from the outside and I start to analyze, and you look at Nevis's economy. Lucky, like I said, because of the unity construct, you have the privileges of or the help, the assistance from St. Kitts that is forthcoming because of the agreement that they were the Charleston Accord. What would NRP do? What plans do you have to sort of boost the economy, start putting people back to work, and helping the small businesses, people, the entrepreneurs who wants to really get involved into businesses but need some financial assistance?
Okay, so one of the challenge really, as you quite mentioned, and I do believe that as Norwegians, we do not have a fair understanding of the state of the Treasury. I can only imagine that it is perhaps not in a very good state. I think the Premier would have alluded to that on several occasions, and being mindful that we're still in a COVID-19 pandemic, we have to accept our realities. Mm-hmm. But the truth about it is that any elected government, once you are elected, you have a job to do. And your job really is to be able to provide for your people, to improve their economic situation and improve the economy. And so I would have advocated numerous times that there needs to be an economic recovery task force. We were able to put a COVID-19 task force in place to deal with the health situation. And so, therefore, I do not see it being too difficult to be able to put an economic recovery task force in place. Countries such as islands such as Barbados would have done that. And we would have seen Prime Minister Motley, when she first entered office after being elected, one of the first things she did was to set up an economic recovery strategic team. And she had persons such as Owen Arthur on that team, so even persons on the opposition. And the whole purpose of that was really to pull all stakeholders together so that you can strategically implement plans to drive the economy and to improve it, and that is what is needed. And I have been advocating for this for, for almost the 2 years that I have been in Parliament, because I do see the need for it. I mean, no one has all the answers. The government do not have all the answers, and the opposition certainly do not have all the answers. And so, therefore, there is a need for expert guidance, where ideas can be pooled. You can look at the country strategically, and you can look at ways of creating jobs and creating opportunities for persons. And that is something that the NRP will do, because we see the need. The economy has to be mobilized. We have to be able to provide jobs. The second thing is that the whole issue of fair share or revenue sharing, I think it needs to be more formalized. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if to the extent where constitutional reform may be necessary, but that is something that we can look at, because I do believe that once you have a sensible plan that is well codified and documented, then there should no longer be any issues or any fallouts over revenue sharing. And so that is something that is very important, so that, we can know as a federation, we do share mutual resources, which equates to mutual benefits. And so therefore that is something that definitely has to be prioritized and has to be looked at. The other thing is that I believe that planning is important. Mm-hmm. Anything that you do. And I can always go back and speak about my experience under the Joseph Parry NRP-led administration during the period of 2006 to 2013. And we all know that we were facing a financial crisis at that time. It was, again, a period of economic despair. And so as a leader, you don't really have the time to sit and wallow and whine. You have to get up and take the bull by the horn and lead and create opportunities. And Mr. Parry did just that. I remember during that time, the major hotel in Nevis, Four Seasons Hotel, that had closed down, and still the government was able to provide opportunities for people to work, provide jobs for them, and really keep the economy intact, of course, with the assistance of the federal government. And so, it has been done before, it can be done again, but it takes focus, it takes planning, and it takes a leader who really cares about the people of Nevis. So it is not difficult. Yes, there are challenges, but I believe these challenges can be overcome if the spirit and the intention really is to better the lives of people.
Yeah, and it's Douglas. I like that word, better the life of Nevisians. Nevis has its own island administration. Of course, you are part of a federation, and I suppose we have pooling of resources. And at the end of the day, like you said, Nevis deserves its fair share, and that comes from based on Nevis's contribution to the pooling of resources. But as you are vying for the position as a representative for Nevis in the Nevis Island administration, the question you ask is, how can we make Nevis independent, financially independent of St. Kitts? We not benefiting, not dependent on the small contribution that they would have made to the pool. The CBI program is one of the biggest issues right now, but we see that and we understand, just like tourism, how fickle the CBI program can be. We have people who are selling passports. At one point in time, that is going to come to an end. We have to start to identify areas of natural resources. St. Kitts is looking seriously at tourism. They have done a lot. They have built hotels. They have built a second pier. We're not seeing that in Nevis. I'm asking when or where, what natural resources or what resources can you look within Nevis to see of an industry that you can bring out that can boost the economy? What can we do in Nevis that would not have division waiting for the fish to come, but everybody going out there and fishing and being able to support themselves. I am waiting to see that. Sometimes this is what gives me the feeling that I think I need to get into Nevis politics, because you need to start becoming resourceful. Look within you and see how you can assist. We have intelligent people coming out of Nevis, people who are out there in other people's country who's building it. Get them to come back and see how we can look at Nevis. It's a small island. It has it has a small number of people living there, but Nevis is supposed to be able to basically support themselves. So I'm asking, what areas of where you can see that you can dig into. We talk about geothermal was one of the areas that you could have looked in, and that has basically gone through the shoots. Why?
Yes, basically, and I go back to what I would have said previously. I think because of the lack of planning and the passion or the drive really to have any type of development in Nevis, and that is what it comes down to. I mean, every time we're in an election year, geothermal again becomes relevant, and so that really is signaling to me that this present administration is not really serious about renewable energy at all. And so every time election comes, geothermal is has been reduced to a mere election gimmick. And it is quite unfortunate, because I do believe that if it is that we have the resource, that greater efforts really should be implemented in exploring it and being able to see how we can best use it. Now, I know there has been many plans in the past preceding this present administration, and so the blueprint is there. It's just a matter of really going back and taking it seriously and not just using it as an election gimmick. I think our people have been misled. We have been tricked enough. I mean, it's just a ploy now for this present administration. I understand that in the very near future, perhaps it has already started, that there will be some drilling as it relates to geothermal. And like I said, you only see that once an election is pending. And then after the election, you don't hear anything about geothermal again for another 5 years. So we're not serious about that. And that is something that NRP-led administration would certainly look into, because we understand the need to be able to find alternative sources of energy. And I think renewable forms of energy, that is something that we definitely have to look into. We also are looking into marine development, marine resources, expanding that. And so there are many areas that NRP really have some great plans, great ideas, but like I said before, it takes planning. Everything is planning. If you are serious about governance, you have to be serious about planning and engaging persons. I mean, when we look at trying to appeal and attract investors, investors are not going to come to invest in a country if they feel that the country is not serious about development. And so therefore, there must be a holistic approach towards your country. For example, if it is that your financial services is susceptible to money laundering and things like that, no investor would want to come to do any sort of serious business with you. And so, therefore, you have to have a holistic approach towards governance. It cannot be, okay, well, I am going to make plans for renewable energy, but at the same time, the integrity of my financial services is being compromised. It doesn't work that way, because we're not fooling anybody. If it is that a particular area or industry is weak, then that most likely would affect other areas. And so that is why I have said, and I would repeat it numerous times today, there is need for an economic task force to really be implemented, to give that sort of expert guidance that is needed, and to really put the blueprint in place so that we can really empower and better the lives of all Nevisians. And that is certainly something that NRP will make priority. We don't have all of the answers. We have ideas, yes. We know that we have the passion and we are committed towards developing Nevis and advancing the lives of our people. But we do need that guidance, and I think an economic recovery task force would go a great way in assisting in that endeavor. And like I said before, other countries have done it, and they are now doing well. They are advancing in spite of being in a pandemic, and I think we can do the same thing.
Yeah, we have to start looking at a lot of things. You see, as the electorate, we go in and we vote. We hope that when we cast our vote, that the people who we vote for, would help us. But a lot of times you see it otherwise, where people are benefiting. Politicians go in, and in a very short time they become multimillionaires, and people become paupers. Small businesses you see are falling out because you have issues, you have the pandemic, and no financial assistance, and people just fall on the wayside. And we have people like that we would have put ourselves out there to put you in office, and at the end of the day, you benefit big time and we don't benefit. So I'm asking the question again. We talk about investors coming in. We are harping on the CBI program. We saw where the CBI program would have landed us, and it's going to get worse because we are selling passports to people who sometimes we don't have the ability to do enough background checks, and sooner or later these people are shaded because there's a reason why they're buying the passports. They don't want to live here because there's some privileges that they can have. But we as citizens, we don't understand that we benefit from the monies, and we are happy that the monies are coming into our shores, and we're not looking at basically the disadvantages that it can pose for us as citizens. For example, we have lost the visa-free access to Canada. And this happens because we had shady people using our passports, and it's going to continue along that vein. So I'm asking, let's not look at the CBI program. Let's not look at the fact that for Nevisians, I'm talking, that you think it is going to give you some handouts. You have to be serious about an industry that you're going to get yourself into, and you have to start making provisions for that industry. We don't just, I understand what you're saying about planning, but you have to have an idea to plan for, and one that would make sense. We see that cities has seriously embarked in tourism after the sugarcane industry. They have done what they had to do. I'm still asking about Nevis. So when would Nevis be able to get a tourist ship coming to Nevis? I mean, Nevis has different attractions than St. Kitts, and people would want to come to Nevis. I mean, I would love to see a boat or two in Nevis Harbour, tourist boats in Nevis Harbour. When would you all start looking at things like that, where Nevis has its own, generating its own finances and not just hubbing as a federation? Because at the end of the day, Nevis still have the option if you want to secede and become an independent country. So I want to hear from you guys who are coming. What is the new vision for Nevis? Because Nevis needs that change. I mean, how old am I? I'm almost 80. And Nevis is basically operating the same way that it has been operated since I was a little girl. And that's what I'm saying, we need to see something that is different. People who are going to bring different ideas to Nevis, not the same, not building on the old ones. They're not working. We want fresh ideas. We need fresh industries. We have lots of young people who are leaving Nevis because there's nothing for them to do. And it's not right. When you look in St. Kitts and you see people who are at the top, they are from Nevisian background. When you get into the news, you always hear the best neurosurgeon is out of Nevis, but he's operating in Jamaica. Because there's basically no attraction in Nevis. We need we need politicians who are going to look at Nevis from a different perspective and come up with fresh ideas, fresh industries, fresh investments that Nevisians can benefit. Where do you see NRP playing this role?
Well, I think if I am to be fair, of course, NRP would, at the convenient time, would definitely roll out its plans for Nevis. But if I am to be fair, I think we have been doing so already. So I hope, Sandra, you have been paying attention.
Yeah, tell me.
But I just want to coin here that it is very, very important that we understand that the importance of analysis and assessment. Because, I mean, it's just like, for example, if you're taking over a new job from a person, then it is well and good for you to go into the job with all of the ideas. And we would have seen this in the past with the present administration, where they had all of the ideas and all of the plans, and they were able to allude to people and to create false hope and false pretenses, and now they get into governance and fail at governance. And I can say that with as a blanket statement, failure. We don't want to fall into the same trap. And so we have to be sensible in our approach.
Good.
Because it's just like, as I said, if you're going into a new job, you have to first make an assessment as to where you are at. And so being in opposition, I don't know. I don't know the state of the country. I don't know the state of the treasury, because that information is not shared with me. Of course, I am on the ground and I am feeling the hardship.
Good.
So I know it cannot be good. Okay? I think everyone knows that. And so once we have made the assessment, and that is the formal assessment, and it's just like putting any sort of risk assessment in place for your organization or institution, the same model applies to government.
Yep.
You have to make your assessment, and once you have done that, then you go into the planning stage. Okay? So we can plan with all of the ideas, and for example, many of us would recall with this present administration, we were promised investors. Matter of fact, we were told that there were many investors lining up out to sea, waiting to come ashore. It has been almost a decade.
No,
and
the
those
water
investors have not come to shore yet.
because the pier is not made, it's not built, so they can't come in.
Okay? And so exactly, you are strengthening my point, because you cannot make promises unless you're going to first plan purposefully and you're going to put the necessary infrastructure in place for the investors to come. That is what has to be done. And so we are very mindful of that. I mean, we are a sensible group. And so we are mindful. So we are not here to make any empty promises. We understand that we will have to make an assessment, that we have plans, and we have our ideas as to how we are going to drive the economy. But we want to make sure that we can plug them in and make it work for the people of Nevis. Now, it is well and good for one to say, well, Nevis need cruise ships. Okay, but we have to be mindful that how much revenue do we generate from the cruise ship industry? When the cruise ship passengers come to Nevis, do we have activities for them to do and to partake in? And would those activities generate sufficient revenue? And so I'm saying that, yes, we have those ideas. Of course, we would love to have a cruise ship dock in Nevis. But we have to plan purposefully and make assessments. And so once we have done that, then I can assure the people of Nevis that we will be well on our way to ensure that we are able to advance the lives of Nevisians. Now, I want to go back to the point about revenue sharing, because I noticed that you have said many times that you don't just want to rely on the small pool. Now, I am not sure whether the pool is small or whether it is big. I don't know what the pool is, to be fair. And so that is why I am simply suggesting that, and NRP is putting forward that proposal where we have to formalize revenue sharing between St. Kitts and Nevis. Because, of course, we share resources, like I said, we share mutual benefit, but we have to be able to formalize it so that we can understand and appreciate what we are putting in and what we are getting out. And so that, again, would be priority. Now, I can only speak about this in general terms because, like I said, I don't know. But what I do know is that I am sensible enough to understand that it all has to do with planning. We cannot come up to say we have an agreement or we have a Charleston Accord. What is that? Have you ever seen it? What does it say? So we need to have a structure in place, a codified structure where we can present that plan to our people and we can say, listen, this is what Nevis is putting into the pool and this is what Nevis expect in return.
Exactly.
We have a constitutional arrangement laid out in the Constitution. We have to make an assessment whether that is working for us moving forward or whether it is not working. And if it is not working, then by all means, then there is need for constitutional reform. And so, we are serious about governance. We are serious about the commitment and the undertakings that we make to our people, but we are not going to do so in just a vacuum. We have to be able to convince people, and we have to be able to make sure that we are in a position to deliver on those promises. I am not in the habit of talk without action. I think we had enough of that. We have seen it with this present administration. All talk, no action. NRP is not about that. We are about being able to talk and deliver. And so that is what the good people of Davis can expect from NRP. And we have more than the talent and the drive and the energy in order to be able to advance the lives of all people.
It's
We are
amazing.
fully equipped.
It's amazing you say that because talk, we are out of time, so we can't talk anymore. But clearly it was a pleasure. I feel hopeful when I listen to people like you talk, and the ideas that you have, and the fact that you're using strategic planning, assessment, and I think that is one of the things. That is a key word. First, because you hear politicians talk about what they can do when they get in there without doing their proper assessment, analyzing the situation as it is at now, because you don't have the information, and some of the promises you can't make because you don't know the state of the economy. And I like, this is a difference. This is really a different tone, because normally politicians would fool us, giving us the impression that they know what's going on and this is what they can do. Anybody can come up with planning. Anybody can come up with ideas. But whether or not the ideas are the right ideas for the situation at that point in time. I mean, I like the fact you talk about the cruise ship, whether or not what you have to weigh the benefits and see whether or not it is something that Nevis wants to go into or they want to look otherwise. I like what you said, and I do understand. I like the way you have formulated and I hope that it's a whole NRP strategy. I like that, and people are supposed to be looking forward to seeing what your ideas are, because of course you would have done your assessment, you have done your planning. So the ideas that you're bringing to the Nevis people is one that can work, because you would have done the necessary groundwork and basically having an understanding of how you're going to execute your plan. It was a pleasure. Thank you for accepting my invitation. I definitely would want to talk to you again. And this time I want to see you across from me, so we can plan that again and see when it's it's the right time for you can come. You can come even. I will try to get you and maybe your future leader, and we can come and sit down here, or if you want to bring your whole crew, so we can talk about what NRP can do for Nevis, what your intentions are for Nevis people, because Nevis definitely needs some renewed energy. The people are desperate. It clearly was a pleasure. And
thank you so much, Sandra, and thank you so much for having me. I wish I could have stayed longer, but I know we're all pressed for time, and so certainly we will certainly be back to have discussions with you as we continue preparing for the upcoming election. So thank you, and have a blessed day. Thanks to everyone for tuning in and for continuing to supporting the Nevis Reformation Party.
Thank you for coming, and I wish you luck in the upcoming election. I mean, it's out there for anybody to win. It's the best man win, people who have ideas, and people who not just have ideas, but who can execute them. It was a pleasure. It's Friday. Omicron is out there. You look downstairs, you see everybody going to be tested. The flu is also there. It is not an easy thing. Trust me, it's very painful it makes you feel very, very sick. It's something that you don't want to get. So therefore, we have to make sure that we exercise protocols, we wear a mask, continue social distancing, and make sure we practice good hygiene. Wash your hands, hand sanitize every time you get inside. It is a must. It's what has kept us or brought us to the position that we're in right now. We're recognizing that we are having people are dying. So we know that this is very serious. And I'm infringing on people's time. So I think I'm going to wrap up now. Stay tuned to WinFM 98.9. Socrates is here with Your Voices program up next.
Trip that you take won't compare to the sinkage trip that you took. Me no know about you, but me love sink is bad.